Just sign here.
Yes! Hold up! Not that kind of signature. This kind of signature. Okay, firstly, let's find out the exact terms of what a signature is. So what is a signature? A person's name written in a distinctive way as a form of identification and authorizing a check or document or concluding a letter. Now, how does it apply to us? Well, in my eyes, if you flip it a little bit, you add your B-boy, B-girl flavor to it, you actually find that it actually makes complete sense. A person's name written in a distinctive way. A B-boy, B-girl's move done in a distinctive way. As a form of identification, in authorizing a check, in authenticating themselves and their movement, or document, or combo, throwdown, set, concluding a letter, aka concluding their throwdown. Okay, now that we know technical terms, I'm gonna walk you guys through the process of how I personally created my signatures, and then through that process, you guys will see how you can as well create yours, because I'm gonna be sharing with you guys and explaining to you how I created it, which is gonna in turn show you guys how you can personally create it. Let's go. To understand my thought process behind creating my moves, you have to first understand where I came from. So for me, when I started breaking, I was very unconfident. I was insecure. I was scared of doing like hard moves, aka power moves, blow ups, etc. One, because I was scared of injuring myself, and two, because I personally believed I wasn't capable of doing a movement like that. I was also a chronic overthinker, and I was super detail oriented, which had its pluses and definitely its minuses. Number two, my environment. I started with Jerry from NON, which I'm sure some of you guys already know. Jerry's style was and is very technical, detail-oriented, flow-focused, feel-focused, floor work focused with a sprinkle of blow-ups. Then I continued to be mentored by mostly NON, who are more fundamentally focused and who believe in having a very solid foundation. Okay, now natural attraction. So I was naturally attracted to floor work, style, threading, basically all things that required creativity and didn't require strength. Coming from a family of artists and creatives, I naturally gravitated towards that side more. And since I wasn't really progressing my power and my blow-ups that much, I still wanted some speed factor to my breaking, so footwork is where I naturally gravitated towards. So to summarize, creativity, threading, illusion stuff, floor work, and fast footwork is more so what I was into. Okay, now inspirations. What were my inspirations at the time of creation? So I'm not gonna bore you by going to, oh, this person inspired me, this person inspired me. I'm just gonna break it down to very simply who had the most inspiration for me at the current time of when I was creating the move. So that would have been Thesis, Casper, fast footwork, illusion style, and threading. My fast footwork style came from NON, and then from Casper's inspiration. And then for my signature, which is shoulder shuffles, that came from Thesis's online workshop. So back in the day, I know, olden times, when there was just the beginnings of online stuff, online workshops weren't really a thing yet. So I took one of the first online workshops from Thesis. Well, to take is kind of it's kind of sugarcoating a little bit. Basically what he did is he filmed a live stream and then he sold the live stream online. So then what I did is I purchased a live stream after it was streamed, and then I watched it. And that's where I learned shoulder chairs, which I'm sure you guys see me use all the time, and shoulder threads. So those two moves I learned from him, and doing fast shuffles is what I learned from Casper. So together, that's how I came to being inspired to create shoulder shuffles. Okay, fifth one, trial and error. This one's really relevant because I feel like a lot of people tend to just throw moves out the window very quickly. And if you don't give yourself time to create some of your best moves, you're just not gonna create it. And sometimes you may have the idea or the skeleton of a move, but to get the skin, the organs, and everything into it to make it that great building human being of a move is gonna take time sometimes. So some signatures, they may come up and just hit you on the back of your head, knocked out, suddenly you got a signature. Other ones, they may take months to get. This one being my first one, it took me quite a few months to get. Okay, patience. This one's pretty self-explanatory. If you don't have the patience to go through that trial and error process, you may not get to that many signatures because creating them can take time. Now that I've bored you guys for like 10 minutes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you back to my house and wine and dine you. Just kidding. Maybe. Are we there yet? Is this too soon in a relationship? Okay, I understand. Too soon. Getting back to, I'm gonna show you guys the shoulder shuffles and how I went about physically creating it, and then we're gonna get into the last step. Let's go right now, pop. How did I technically create shoulder shuffles? Well, at this point, I'd already learned shoulder chair, and I'd learned shoulder rolls from Thesis, forgetting names here, and I had already done a shuffle combo with Savage Rock from my crew. So the shoulder roll that I learned was baby freeze, can't even baby right now, here, And then the shoulder chair, which you guys see me do all the time, hit. And then Savage taught me this combo, hit and hit and hit and hit. And then I flipped that to this. So then I randomly, through the creative process, had the crazy idea of what if I could mix the shoulder roll on my upper body with the shuffles of my lower body. And then the creative process really begun, where I started literally breaking down shuffle by shuffle each one of these moves, where I was like, here, what if I went here? And then how could I go here? And then here on the other side, and then back through to here. So let me get my my toque band. Okay, now it won't come off my head, hopefully. So, as I was saying, I literally was breaking it down to playing with these shuffles and on my back shuffles, and how can I go back and through and around, and I was getting caught up, and it was quite the process. I wish it would have been as easy as just go like this. But as all great things are, they never necessarily come easy. All the best things come from hardships. So was this a hardship? No, but it was definitely an experience. And it literally took me experimenting with it and creating it and playing with it over and over again until eventually the flow started coming clear. But as I said, I would literally be at practice and I would break it down step by step, going super slow. I'd be like, here, and here, and here, and here, and back to here so I can repeat it. And then I just slowly picked up the pace. And a lot of time I played around with like my legs going too high and low. So then it was like, where can I keep, do I have to keep it the proper level to where like it actually looks clean and looks flowy. The hardest issue for me was always figuring out how to come back cleanly, and I don't think I ever really mastered it. It literally just came down to if I can get my upper body to catch up with my legs on the perfect timing, then it would somewhat cover up my crash of my feet. Because if you notice, every time I come back around, right here, my feet come down too hard because I have to re-stab again. It doesn't really make sense flow-wise. So, I would have to make sure my feet line up perfectly with my stab so that I could be ready to go for the next run right away. And then, this is the final product. And that's how I created shoulder shuffles. Alright, that's all fun and dandy, but now the most important part. What about applying it to yourself? Because if you can't apply this to yourself, what the heck's the point of watching this video? Yes, there's been a lot of talking, yes, there hasn't been that much moves, because the reality is, this is about creating your own signature. This isn't about me teaching you a signature. This isn't about me teaching you a certain move. This is about me trying to explain a mentality to you guys so that you guys can actually have a little bit of an understanding of how you could possibly create your own signature. Because the reality is, majority of our signatures are created subconsciously. We're not really consciously thinking, oh, I'm gonna create a signature today. You're just going to practice, you're just training, and you stumble upon something or something naturally gravitates towards you, and that's usually how our signatures are created. But I do believe there's a process to how you could actually consciously create one and actually try to make it more of a signature style movement. So hopefully this guide, this kind of little blueprint gives you guys a little bit more of an idea of how you could possibly do it and apply it to yourself. Let's go. All right, y'all, number one on the actual steps list. Remember how I started in the beginning talking about me, my self-consciousness, my anxieties, my fears, what I was scared of, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's time for you to look in the mirror and to understand where you started. What was your initial experience? Step number one is you. Where do you come from? What were your beginnings? What was your starting? Because if you understand that, then you can leverage yourself, your weaknesses, your strengths, to creating your signatures easier now. All you gotta do is close your eyes and take a journey back in time to your past. What were your experiences like? When you started, what were your weaknesses? What were your strengths? Figure it out. Dissect yourself and then leverage it to your advantage, just like I have with all of this. All I'm doing is literally taking from my past and abusing it now. Because the more you know your beginnings, the easier it's gonna be for you to connect your dots to now, to be able to give you guys the answers that you're looking for. Look backwards and it'll connect all the way to your present. Number 2, your environment. The more you can be aware of your environment, the better. Just as I was aware that I started with Jerry and NON and mentored me, blah, blah, blah. You guys have heard this story many times already. The more you can understand about that, the better it's gonna be, because the clearer you're gonna understand why you naturally do some things and why you naturally don't do some things. And the better you can leverage your natural practicing rhythm to where you can improve and progress and get those signatures faster. And if none of that really made sense to you, just break it down like this. Who was your first teacher? Who mentored you? Who did you practice with a lot growing up? And where did you train? And what kind of trainings did you do? That's it. Number 3, natural attraction. So as you probably already realized, we're literally going through the same process I went through with myself that I explained to you earlier. But now I'm explaining how you can apply it to yourself. So if you already figured out your beginnings and your environment of your beginnings, natural attraction goes right along in there. We're just building Lego blocks on top of each other. So what were you naturally attracted to? Were you naturally attracted to style, power, freezes, blow-ups, tricks, creating crazy stuff, floor work, footwork, top rock, like go downs? What was it? Was it more like unique style, more creative, more wild, more basic, more fundamental? It doesn't matter what you were, just try to figure it out, because if you can figure that out, then that's probably where your signatures lie. Because your signatures tend to lie in what we are naturally gravitated towards the most, because that's what we naturally enjoy the most, which means we're gonna perform those with the most energy, the most passion, and overall it's gonna look the most different because it's the most you. And that's the big X factor there. Signatures are, as we already found out so many times, you. So if you wanna showcase you to the best abilities, you gotta be naturally enjoying what you're doing, obviously. So, natural attraction, relevant, figure it out. Quick insert for natural attraction, you also wanna be focused on what you're naturally attracted to now, okay? It's good to understand what you were naturally attracted to when you started, but now start looking at what you're naturally attracted to now. Because if you're creating your signatures now, which you probably are since you're watching this video now, you wanna be aware of what you're naturally attracted to now, and then you can leverage that, and then you can really dive into what you're naturally attracted to one more time now. Number 4, your inspirations. Just as Thesis, Casper, Fast Footwork were my main base inspirations for my signatures at the time, try and figure out, and this is going into now, what is your inspirations? What inspires you the most? Figure that out and then apply that to yourself. If it's this kind of movement, if it's that kind of movement, it's that kind of movement, it's gonna be something, whether it's tap dancing, whether it's this, whether it's that, whether it's in breaking, whether it's out of breaking, it doesn't matter as long as you're aware of it, because you can leverage that. It doesn't matter, everyone takes inspiration from stuff. Don't worry about biting, worry about flipping, okay? If you worry about flipping, then you're never gonna be biting. If you're worrying about biting, you're always gonna be subconsciously biting because you're gonna be like, oh, I can't look this, I can't look that, oh, and then you're gonna end up looking like everybody. Instead, forget that. Just focus on flipping, changing the moves, and if you're applying the previous 3 steps, you're not gonna be even focusing on what they're doing, because guess what? They didn't have your life story. They didn't have your childhood, they didn't have any of this, so they're not gonna look like you regardless. You only look like someone when you start trying to break like someone. If you're breaking like yourself, you'll never look like anyone else, so keep focusing on flipping. How do you take moves and make them your own? Take your inspirations moves, take my moves, whoever it is, and flip it, change it, rearrange it, make it yours, and make it yours. Numero 5. What language is that? Magnus' language, everybody. Magnus' language. Trial and error. So, again, we talked about it a lot on the floor, but touching base on this, you have to also realize again and again, this is practice, yo. It may take time. It may take a couple months for you to get it. Don't give up on your signatures. If you've got a movement that feels right in your gut, keep going on it. Do not give up on it. If it doesn't feel right, if it feels like crap, don't do it then. By all means, throw it out the door. But if something feels good and you know in your gut that you want this motion, this feeling, this movement, and it just hasn't come yet, don't give up on it. Trial and error. it always takes a certain amount of trial and error before you can get a movement. Some, again, you may fall upon and you may get right away, but others, it's gonna take time. So give yourself that time. Did you count that? Do you know what number it is? It's 6. Cause, you know, we all know what number is right after 5, right? Right? Patience, yo. Patience, fam. Patience, dog. Patience. Again, with trial and error. This is just building off of it. If you don't have the patience to go through the trial and error, probably not gonna get it. So, be, stretching my neck. Patient. Be patient, okay? Some of the best things in life come to those who wait. It's simple, but it's true. Be patient with it. Don't rush it. If it takes a while, it takes a while. Maybe don't create it in like I've got a battle next week, I've got to create this energy now. Back burners, creation, okay? It shouldn't be your like be all end all, I need this move by XYZ time frame, calculus, craziness, words. It should be when it comes, it comes. Be patient with it, keep putting time into it, let it grow, let it flower, and it will come. Patience. We made it, everybody. 4,000 hours later, the final number. One of my favorites, both in the meaning of it and the number. 7, self-awareness. I'm sure this is pretty obvious by now, as if you can't do any of the previous steps, then if you don't have self-awareness, that's probably why you couldn't hit them. Self-awareness is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing in my eyes, to creating a signature move. If you don't have the self-awareness to understand any of this, then it's gonna be difficult for you. But the more and more self-awareness you have, the easier and easier it's gonna be. And you may ask, how do I get more self-awareness? How do I train how to be self-aware? Stop, close your eyes, take a breath. What are you feeling? Hey, guess what? If you can answer that question, pause the video, take a minute if you need to, answer that question for me. Did you answer it? You better, because if you did, guess what? You just gained self-awareness, okay? That's literally all it is. It's being aware of yourself. Everything's in that title. Everything's here. You don't even need that anymore. Everything's here. Answer that question for yourself, okay? If you can be self-aware of all this, the signature is gonna come. Because your movement's gonna just keep developing, because you're gonna be doing more and more of what you love, you're gonna be doing more and more of what you should be doing, because it's gonna be the most you. And the more you can showcase you, the more this dance benefits, because the more you bring to it. Guess what, guys? That's all from me. That is all from me. We are done, we are done, we're done, we're done, we're done, we're done. If you guys would please comment down below what this kind of video is like for you. If it's way too long, it's way too boring, you don't like it when I'm just talking and blabbering all dang day on this video, by all means let me know. I am pretty insecure about creating content like this, simply because I feel like you guys don't want to see this much talking, you don't care when it's not this much movement, and you want to see more movement-based tutorials, but the reality is like, as I was saying earlier, you can't showcase signatures that much. You've got to get them from yourself. I could teach you guys my signatures more and more. I could teach you guys moves that could be created in signatures, but the reality is, the thing that makes it a signature is you, okay? So I hope this kind of helped a little bit. I know it's a really hard topic to touch and teach, and I'm hoping this brings a little bit more of a blueprint and some clarity to it. And personally for me, like, it was something that I always saw and I was like, signatures are so important to have, but how the heck do you get them? Well, I hope this gives you a little bit more clarity and answer to how you create them. This is Magnus.Magneto from Now and Ever Crew. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a comment down below. Let me know. Like the video, smash that bell button, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. New uploads every Sunday. So you're hungry, you want more. I was the same growing up as I started breaking, and I'm the same now as I've continued breaking. Which is why I started a weekly newsletter every Monday, Mondays with Magnus, where I'll be sharing anything from breaking to health and everything in the middle that I've found that I can leverage to my advantage to becoming the best human being I can possibly be. To join, all you have to do is email me at magnus.ff94@gmail.com, and I will see you Monday.